In this lesson, we're going to go over passing data to groups. Okay, everyone, this is a very important concept that you're going to use all the time with your applications. This is how you send data around in your page so that different elements can reference it. A really great use case and example that you'll use all the time is if you ever have a list of anything and you want to select an item from the list and show information about that selected item. And we're talking about within the same page. We will talk about passing data from page to page between multiple pages in the lesson right after this one, but this is sending data to groups. Groups kind of function like a mini page because they can reference a single record in your database, much like a dynamic page can also reference a single record in your database. I promise we'll clear all of this up and the differences between the two throughout this lesson and the next. And I'm going to show you with a really common example that we have here. So first thing that I want to show you here is my initial setup. It's a repeating group of job posts with no constraints. We're just going to show all jobs in the database, and here's the preview of it. There's one without a title. And the only text that I have inside the cell is to display the job's title, okay? So what if I wanted to select one of these items and see more information about that job post? I want to see the company that it belongs to. I want to see the description. I want to see the salary that has been saved for it. All right, so I'm going to create a group element on the page next to the list here. We're going to make it nice and big, and I'm just going to give it a slight background color so we can see it a little bit better. Right, and now I'm going to give a button to the repeating group cell here. So this can act as a trigger to select my post. Okay, so I will say view details here for this button. Okay, this button is going to pass this job post record to this group element so that this group element can reference that record, and anything inside of the group can also reference that same record. So for example, I'm going to put a text inside here, nice in the center. Let's change the styling a little bit. I'm just going to make this centered so it's more of a title here. And actually, before I set the text value here, I'm going to go back to my group element. And what we want to do is set the type of content of this group to a job post, because I'm telling Bubble, hey, we are going to send job post data to this group element. And this is only expecting one record at a time. So the value of the data source should only be one job post, not a list of job posts. Now, because this particular group should only be visible and only be relevant to us when there is data, I'm actually going to keep this not visible on page load until there is a data source sent to the group. I will set the data source through a workflow because I don't want to assume that the user wants to look at any particular post when the page is first loaded here. So I will only show this as soon as they make their first selection. So this will be not visible upon page load, and we'll leave the data source empty. That's okay. This doesn't require a data source upon page load. So this is an optional thing. But we are going to change the data source when we click this button. So when view details is clicked, we're going to run an element action called display data. And the element we're displaying data in is our group. And the data to display is the current cell's job post. Remember, this button, views details, is inside of a repeating group cell. So it will send this job post over to that group. All right, so now by doing that, that's going to give this group a data source. It will override this default of a blank source and actually apply a source to it. Now that this group has a type of content set, anything inside of the group can reference that record. So I'll insert dynamic data. This is just a text element. And we can see here, parent group's job post is an option. It's referencing whatever record has been passed to the group. And the parent group just refers to the parent element of this text, right? So the group is the parent element of the text. The text is the child element of the group because it is nested inside of the group. So this text is going to be the parent group's job posts title. Okay, now I can reference other things about this job post because we are talking about the entire record, not just the title text. So I'm going to duplicate this text here, and let me just make it a little bit smaller for this one. Okay, so this will display the job post company name. Okay, so I've gone through the job post to its company link and then displayed the name field of the company record. Right, so we're actually crossing over two tables, the job post table and then the company table. Parent groups, job posts, company's name. If we go back to data and then data types, we can see here job post has a link to company, which is a reference to a company record. And then we're going to the company's name, which is a text value. So it's compatible with this element. Okay, and then let's just say for another one, we will do the manager's name, which is a user. So we'll do manager is parent group's job post, company's manager's full name. Okay, so that's actually crossing three tables, job posts, companies, managers, right? This is a user. We've just labeled it as manager. Awesome. So now let's do one more for just at the job post level, which is the description of the post. So we'll do parent group's job post description. And we'll make this even smaller because maybe there's more text and we want more to fit in there. And I'll just make it a little bit bigger like that. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Now I know that some of my job posts don't have all of the data associated. Let's just check this out real quick here. Let's do Dean of Students or any of our city university ones. Associate Professor, Grant Writer, Dean of Students. Okay, so by default, remember I had that, oh right, I do need to bring this back. So by default, I have the group hidden because there is no data source to start with, so there would be nothing to display inside here. It'd just be kind of a waste of a blank element showing up there. I'm going to create a condition on this group so that it is visible when it has a post set to it. So this is a condition on the group element when this group's job post is not empty. And it knows that there's a job post associated with the group because remember, I've set the type of content to job post. Now the group knows to expect a job post. So when it's not empty, then the visibility will change. It will become visible. By default, we have no source, so it's not going to be visible, but when we click on this button, View Details, we are giving it a data source by running this action, Display Data. So I will refresh the page, and we have no source yet. Now I'm going to select Assistant Professor, View Details, and here we go. There's all of our information. There's the title of the post, the company name, the manager is, and then the name there, and then this is the description of the post. I'm going to select our other city university job post, which is this grant writer one. So I'm going to click on View Details and see how it changes that data. And I'm just going to select on all these other ones. I might have missing information. So Hostess has everything in here. It's a different company, different user. So see how every time I click on this button, it changes the data because it's passing different records to this group. It's just referencing a different record in the database. This is a fantastic way to create dynamic elements on your pages, especially when you're working with lists of things and you're wanting to isolate a selection. Another thing that we can do with our buttons so that we know which one we've selected is add a condition on the button. So I'm going to go back to Design and go to the Conditional tab for my button. So I can add a condition here when the current cell's job post is the group job post. Now this is just the name of the group. Let me do group selected. something like that, so we can keep them apart. When the current cell's job post is group selected's job post, then we're going to change the text of this button to viewing. And we'll change the color to something completely different, not that color, the background color of the button to green. Okay, I'm going to remove this one here. So it's going to look like that. Okay, so I'm going to refresh the page so we can see this again. So I'll click on Account Executive, and you can see now the button has changed, so I know exactly which one I'm on. If I click over here, it's going to change. This one goes back to what it was. Now we're really creating some interactivity here. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Display data passes data to a group element, and it's essentially overriding that data source. That's exactly what it's doing. Okay, I want to show you one more scenario where you can pass data to another group, because it's not just regular group elements, it's actually any single item container. So this doesn't apply to repeating groups because that's looking for a list of things, but this does apply to your pop-ups, floating groups, and your group focus, because they all have this property where they can take a type of content and a data source. So let's look at, instead of showing the details inside of a group that's flat on the page, what if we instead wanted to show it in a pop-up? Now, I think I have a pop-up here. I'm going to remove this actually, and just to kind of show you a couple tricks, I'm going to move this down for a second. I'm going to move my list to the center of the page. And this group, since I've already designed it, but I want to convert it to a pop-up, all I need to do is right-click the group and select Replace by another element. And I can say, okay, I want to change this from a group that's flat on the page to a pop-up instead. So I'll select that, hit Replace. Now my group is suddenly a pop-up because maybe I like this design a little bit better. Okay, now with pop-ups, remember, pop-ups are not visible by default. You have to show them in a workflow. So here is my pop-up. Let's rename this. I like to name the element at the front so that I know exactly what type of thing it is. So pop-up selected. And again, by default, this is not visible. I have to show it in the workflow. So when this button, View Details, is clicked, I'm going to insert an action here, and it actually doesn't really matter what order this comes in, but I kind of have a habit of doing the show action first. Show the pop-up selected element first, and then display data. This is the action that people forget all the time when they are using pop-ups that are dynamic. They just show the pop-up and they say, hey, where is my information? I don't see anything in the pop-up. Nothing is loading in, or other things just go wrong because they have not added this action to send that data over to the pop-up. You have to have this action. This is what sets that data source. Okay, so with a pop-up that's dynamic, you have two steps, show and display. All right, so same thing. Let's just refresh the page. Very same concept. I just wanted to show you the example with a different type of element. So we'll do Account Executive, View Details. There's my pop-up, and I can see all of the information there. I'm going to click out of it to close and do a different post. You can see that the information changes here. And we'll do another one, Engineer. I'm probably lacking, I probably don't have fields saved in some of those, but that's how you can pass data around from one element, in this case, the repeating group cell, to another element, either in a group or a pop-up, anything that can take that type of data.